Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be divided into two parts. So the first part is I'm going to be sharing with you guys the things that I wish I knew before going to Zanzibar, and the second part of the video is I'm going to be sharing with you all the expenses that we spent when we went to Zanzibar, like a detailed breakdown of all like the prices and what everything cost, and a total of how much we spent in our Zanzibar trip. We went to Zanzibar on Friday, stayed there on Saturday, then came back to mainland Tanzania on Friday. So I'm just going to share with you guys how much we spent for like our weekend getaway to Zanzibar. I have like all the things listed here on my notebook because I am filming this video on my phone. So we are going to start with part one of the vlog, which are things that I wish I knew before going to Zanzibar. The first thing here on my list, which I feel like it's very, very important, and I knew it, but I just did not take it that seriously, is sunscreen is a must. Sunscreen is a must in everyday life, but sunscreen is much needed in Zanzibar because it's very hot and it's very, very sunny, and the sun like does a number on your skin. Like I had my sunscreen on. I feel like the mistake I made is I was not reapplying my sunscreen. I would just like apply it in the morning and like that's it. I did not reapply, and I felt like my skin took a fall for that because like my skin was a mess. Like I was really dark. Like the sun did a number on me. So for anybody who is planning on going to Zanzibar, not only are you supposed to be applying like your body sunscreen and your face sunscreen, what you are supposed to be doing is reapplying it from time to time. Honestly, I would suggest even after 1 hour, maybe 2 hours, because the sun is just out there and like it will do a number on your skin if you do not like apply sunscreen. And the second thing on my list is transport around Zanzibar is costly. You're going to see like the expenses we spent on transport on the second part of this video, but transport around Zanzibar is very expensive. This is something that I wish I knew before going to Zanzibar, because we did allocate some money to transport around Zanzibar, but we did not allocate so much. We actually spent more on transport than we anticipated. So I just want to give like a heads up to anybody who like was like me and thought that transport is going to be expensive but not so expensive. Have that like at the back of your head that transport is expensive and maybe would need to add more money on your transport budget. And the third thing that I have here, which I feel like goes hand in hand with the second thing that I just said, is places in Zanzibar are very far apart. I feel like this is what contributes to transport being expensive in Zanzibar, because you would want to go to maybe Nungu, to Stone Town, to maybe Paje, and the places are just very far apart, so that's what makes transport expensive. For example, we were staying at Matemwe. From Matemwe to Stone Town, it was actually 1 hour, and from Matemwe to Nungu, it was a 45-minute car ride. Sorry, my ring lights just gave out. Just be prepared that like you're going to be spending like a little bit of time like moving from one place to another, because the places are really far apart, but the beauty is worth it, because honestly Zanzibar was very beautiful. Like it was amazing. And the next thing that I have here on my list is food is expensive. Food is very expensive in Zanzibar. Honestly, I did not know that, because for us here in mainland Tanzania, we have this ideology that things are cheaper in Zanzibar, and there are things that are cheaper in Zanzibar compared to here, Dar es Salaam or Arusha, because things like perfumes, things like clothes, things like ubuyu, they're much cheaper in Zanzibar, and I think it's because those things are much more available there in Zanzibar. That is why they are cheaper. But there are things like food, drinks that I feel like they're just very expensive compared to Dar es Salaam and compared to Arusha. But I am not complaining, it's a touristic place, so obviously like food and drinks are going to be more expensive. So yeah, increase your budget. And the next thing that I have here, which I would tell anybody who would want to listen, even for a person who does not want to listen, I really wish somebody shoved this information down my throat before I did it. When you are thinking about booking a ferry to Zanzibar, please and please, I am begging you, do not book economy. Never ever use economy. God. I do not mean to offend anyone, but the economy ferry was terrible. I'm telling you, it was terrible. So when we went to Zanzibar, we went with VIP. There were not like a lot of complimentaries that came around with being a VIP, but it was just the comfort, and it was nice being in VIP. And I actually did not know how hard the economy people had it until when we came back, we also used the economy. When we were going to Zanzibar and we were on VIP, we went to buy snacks, and the place that sells snacks is actually in the economy side of the ferry. So like we dropped to the economy side, and everything looked just okay, everything was just peaceful. So me and Mitch were like, economy isn't that so bad. The only difference that we thought like about economy and like VIP is that like economy they would sit like a lot of chairs were stacked together. So maybe in one line they would sit like maybe 6 or maybe 7, if not 5. And in VIP there were just like only 3 chairs stacked together. So 3 people would only sit on a line. And the other difference that we noted is that us in VIP were given some cake and some juice, and the people in economy were not given like any complimentaries. So we thought those were the only differences in economy and like VIP. Yeah, so when we were coming back from Zanzibar, since we had already like made a loss because like we lost a lot of money in Zanzibar, so we just thought like, why not just use economy? We saw economy was cool. The only differences were 1, 2, 3. So let's just use economy on the time back when we're coming to mainland Tanzania. That's what we did. We booked like our economy tickets. And I'm telling you, why did we regret that decision? When we traveled with VIP, when we got there and we just showed our tickets, they were like, oh, you guys are VIPs. Boarding has already started for VIP, so get right into the ship. So we did not wait in line. We just like went straight into the ship and like went away. So in economy, that's not the case. In economy, you have to wait until everybody else gets in the ship. Then the economy people, you get in the last. So when we reached them, we showed our tickets. We're told like, oh, you guys are economy. Then you guys have to like wait in the waiting area for you to be told that it's time to board. So that's what we did. At that time, our ship was leaving at 16 p.m. in the evening, and at that time was something like 15:45 because we were really late getting to the ferry. So we are just like, oh, okay. Like, so we went there and we sat. The chairs were like broken. The chairs were like in half. You could not even sit properly. I'm sorry, but the chairs were a mess. And like nobody even told us it was time to board. What I did is like I just looked behind because we were looking outside and the line to board was behind us. So what I did is I looked behind and I told my friends like, hey, it looks like people are making a line to board on the ship. We have to get on the online also. Maybe they told us it was time to board and I did not hear because there were a lot of people. But honestly, I did not hear that it was time to board. I saw the line was long and people were like scrambling. By the time that boarding had started, it was something like 15:55. So it was only 5 minutes until our journey to Dar es Salaam starts. So like it was just there was not enough time and there were a lot of us. So we were there online, like people were scrambling, people were pushing, and it was just very hot. It's a hot place. So then the line like just sweating, and like when we were on the line, the people who were letting us in to like board the ship, they had like something going on, so they decided to like stop the line and they were arguing. I don't know what they were arguing about, but they like were arguing. And while they were there busy arguing, the captain of the ship like press the horn that it's time to go, like like I feel like maybe they give warnings that they're about to leave, so like press like the horn and it will just say bam, like it was time to go. So for us, the people in line who are waiting to board the ship to go to Dar es Salaam started panicking, like, can you guys please let us pass, it's time to board the ship and the captain has already like blew the horn that it's time to go, can we just pass and go? So people were like pushing, but the people who were like letting us board the ship were just like, no, nobody's passing here, like do not pass. Like they were just like busy arguing. They continued arguing. So they argued for maybe like 5 minutes until they decided to let us pass. So we passed, and when we passed, like the line, like you have to like walk through, like let's say like a path for you to like board the ferry. So we were just walking down the path. The captain like blew the second horn. So I was just like, oh my god, oh my god. At that time it was already like maybe 16 or 5. So I was just like, oh my god, we are going to miss like our ship. But luckily we like got into the ship. So when we got into the ship, we found like the economy side is already full. Like, there are no seats for us to stay. So I was just like there walking around with my bags with no place to stay. Then when I looked in front of the ship, like I saw there were like people who were like waiting to go outside. I don't know what that place is called, but inside the ship there was just like an outside place, so you get to see like the sea and everything, and there were like seats stacked there. So people are waiting for the door to be opened so as they can go sit like outside there. So I like joined the queue. We waited on queue for us to go sit outside for maybe something like, I'm gonna say 10 to 15 minutes. So I waited there online like until they like opened later, like maybe 10 to 15 minutes later, and we got to go like outside. Like so we sat there outside, and actually that was actually the best part about economy because we got to stay there. I saw the ocean, I saw like very beautiful sunset. It was really hot, and I did not have like my heart, but that was okay. I would not suggest, or I would not like advise anybody to use economy because honestly it really isn't worth it. And the next thing that I have here on my list is you need to know how to swim when you go to Zanzibar. You can have a lot more fun in Zanzibar if you know how to swim. I feel like this is just very obvious and I should have known it. Maybe I'm the stupid one, honestly, but you need to be able to swim to enjoy Zanzibar. Like, I don't know how to swim, but I did enjoy it a little bit, as you would have seen from my Zanzibar vlog if you have watched it. If you haven't watched my Zanzibar vlog, definitely watch that. I had fun shooting the video and I bet you would have fun watching it too. I could not swim, but I had my life jacket on, so I still like really enjoyed it, but I feel like I would have had more fun if I was able to swim. But honestly, swimming is difficult for me because I once drowned, and from there on I'm really scared of water. I've tried like taking lessons, but honestly I really can't. I'm just very scared of water. And the next thing that I have here on my list, which I know, but I just want to give it as a heads up for anybody who does not know, is like prices differ for residents and for foreigners. I feel like this is just obvious, but I'm just going to throw it out there for anybody who does not know this. There is a difference on the amount a foreigner will pay for something and the amount a resident will pay for something. So this is actually more for my resident people who are like scared to go to Zanzibar because they feel it's expensive. I mean, it's kind of expensive, but I feel like for us residents, it's a little bit cheaper on us than it is for foreigners. So go to Zanzibar, like enjoy the place. The ferries to Zanzibar, they were like cheaper for us than foreigners. Like there's some like interest fees that were cheaper for us also than for foreigners. And the last thing that I have here on my list, which I feel like this is more for the residents than for the foreigners, is carry your passport everywhere you go. Like I said before, prices are different for residents and for foreigners. For residents, it's a little bit cheaper than foreigners, and you won't be able to enjoy the resident prices if you cannot like show your ID. So you need to be able to show your ID for you to enjoy the resident prices. So for me, I actually forgot my ID, but luckily they also allow like soft copy IDs. Like, so I just showed them like a picture of my ID that I have on my phone, and that was it. And yeah, that's it for part one of my video. Let's get going to the second part of my video, which is like a detailed breakdown of all the expenses that we spent in Zanzibar, how much everything cost, and yeah. And before we get into the expenses, I just want to give like a little bit of disclaimer, or I just want to explain something. These prices differ depending on the place that you're staying. For example, for us, we stayed in Matemwe, so I feel like for a person who stays in Paje, or maybe for a person who stays at Nungwe or Stone Town, the prices would be a little bit different because, like I said before, places in Zanzibar are very far apart. So maybe what costed us to go from Matemwe to Stone Town will not be the same amount that it will cost somebody to go maybe from Paje to Stone Town or from Nungo to Stone Town, because like I said, like the places are really far apart, and then maybe like transport prices would differ in that place. And the second thing is that like I said before, like these prices would also differ if you're a foreigner or if you're a resident. There were things that were cheaper to us because we were residents, and maybe they would have been more expensive to like foreigners. And the third thing that will make the prices different is depending on the tour guide you're using or the tour company that you're using, because the tour guide that I'm using may not charge the same as the tour guide that you're going to use to Zanzibar. Or if you're using the tour company, definitely I feel like they would charge more. So I feel like the prices will differ there depending on the tour guide that you have or on the tour company that you are using. So yeah, after saying that, let's get right into our prices. So the first expense that we spent is our transport to Zanzibar, you know, like from Dar es Salaam to Zanzibar. And that was actually 70,000 Tanzania shillings per person. Like I said, we went with VIP. So one VIP ticket costed 70,000 Tanzania shillings. There were three of us. So in total, we spent 210,000 Tanzanian shillings. And I also checked the prices for foreigners, for anybody who is wondering or for anybody who does not know. So for foreigners, if you're going to use economy, $35 if you're an adult, $30 if you're a child, and $30 if you're a citizen of an East African country. And for VIP, a ferry ticket is $60. This doesn't matter if you're a child or if you're an adult or if you're an East African citizen. The price is the same, like $60 for VIP. And for Royal, it's $100. This doesn't matter if you're a child, if you're an African citizen, or if you're an adult. And for our residents, economy, it's 35,000 Tanzania shillings. The IP, like I said, it's 70,000 Tanzania shillings. And Royal, it's 110,000 Tanzanian shillings. So like those are the ferry prices to Zanzibar. And we use the Azam Marine ferry, so that was nice. And the second expense is snacks. We bought like snacks on the boat, and this costed us 12,000 Tanzania shillings. We bought some It's Some More, we bought some crepes, we bought some water, and this other thing that I actually forgot its name. And a total of the cost of the snacks were 12,000 Tanzania shillings. This was a little bit more expensive, like in the boat. Like, I guarantee you that we would have not spent all this amount of money on snacks if you had bought them outside the ferry. But hey, like I said, I'm not complaining. I feel like it's just only fair for the snacks in the boat to be more expensive. So, and the next expense that I have is actually transport expenses. This is transport from the ferry to the place that we were staying. Like I said before, we were staying at Matemwe. We paid 60,000 Tanzania shillings to get from the ferry to Matemwe. And the next expense that I have here is snacks for the trip. So like after we go to Zanzibar, we went to a supermarket and like we bought some snacks. The snacks costed something like 20,000 Tanzania shillings. We did not buy much. We bought like some Cheetos, like 2 like packets of Cheetos, and maybe, yeah, and some crepes. I feel like that's just it here. And some Trident here. Only those 4 things. We bought like those 4 things like as our snacks, and it was 20,000 Tanzania shillings. And the next purchase that we bought is we bought some Captain Morgan and like some Coca-Cola. You know me, love Coca. I'm trying to stop that, but for the Captain Morgan, it was 60,000 Tanzania shillings, which, like I said, more expensive than what it would have costed here in Dar es Salaam. And also we bought some Cokes. The Cokes were 1,500 Tanzania shillings, so we bought 3 Cokes because there were 3 of us, so it was 4,500 Tanzania shillings. Again, it's more expensive like than here in mainland Tanzania. So in total, for like the Captain Morgan and the Coke, we spent 64,500 Tanzanian shillings. So our next purchase was like some beef mishkaki. These mishkakis were amazing. I'm telling you, I swear by those mishkaki. I only had them once. We wanted to have them before we came back to Dar es Salaam, but the place only opened at night, and we just never like were able to enjoy them again. But the mishkakis were amazing, and these were actually very cheap. One was 1,000 Tanzania shillings, and we bought 5, so it was 5,000 Tanzania shillings. And the next expense that I have here is accommodation. So I have like a really funny story for our accommodation. Our plan was to go to Zanzibar on Friday, stay there for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, then come back on Tuesday. But we couldn't do that. We actually prepaid for our accommodation. There's this other place that we wanted to stay, so like we paid for accommodation prior before we went to Zanzibar. But the person who we gave money to pay for that accommodation did not get to it, so he basically did not pay for accommodation. So when we were going to Zanzibar, that's just when we realized that that person did not pay for the accommodation. So we literally had no place to stay in Zanzibar, and we had already paid him 1.4 million as accommodation. So we had to find another place, and we had to take like a 1.4 million Tanzania shillings loss, but that's okay. Honestly, to me now, it's just a funny story. So, and for us, when we were making a budget of our Zanzibar trip, we knew that we had accommodation covered, and the place that we asked that person to pay accommodation for offered breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So we knew we had breakfast, lunch, and dinner covered for like from Friday to Tuesday. But that was not the case because the dude did not book it. So like even the money we went to with Zanzibar was not enough because we did not count accommodation, and we did not count like food, lunch, and dinner. So we had to like find extra money to be able to enjoy our Zanzibar trip. So luckily the guy, like the tour guide who we got, like we called him and told him like, hey, we do not have a place to stay, like our place to stay fell through. And luckily, thank God, he had his own bungalows, and he told us like, I have my own bungalows, you guys can stay here. It's 100,000 Tanzania shillings for a night. So that's what we did, and we had to like adjust our timetables and adjust ourselves. So instead of staying at Zanzibar for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and coming back on Tuesday, we just stayed for Friday, Saturday, then come back on Sunday because we could not afford to stay until Tuesday. But like I said, it's fine. I'm okay. It's a funny story. I'm laughing about it right now. Since we slept in Zanzibar for 2 days, accommodation was 200,000 Tanzania shillings for those 2 days. And the next expense that we have here is food for Friday when we got to Zanzibar. I'm just looking here at like how much we spent, and it's just very funny. So the first thing that we bought is we bought some pilau and fish. In total, the pilau and fish was 16,000 Tanzania shillings, and we also bought some gisi. The gisi was 15,000 Tanzania shillings. We also bought some beef, like 1 portion of beef. 1 portion of beef was 1,000 Tanzania shillings, and we also got some juice. Like we bought 4 juice because there were 4 of us. Me, Mitch, Ajima, and like our tour guide. So in total for the juice, it was 16,000 Tanzania shillings. So for Friday, the amount we spent on food is 57,000 Tanzanian shillings. So let's continue with our expenses. And the next expense was for the next day on Saturday, when we went to see the dolphins and the fish. Is it fishes or fish? Actually, they charged us 150,000 Tanzania shillings as like the boat fee from the place where we are staying to the place where we could just see the dolphins and the fish. So yeah, that was the price. So after there, we went back to the place that we were staying, and from the place that we were staying, we went to Prison Island. So the transport from Matemwe to Stone Town was 80,000 Tanzanian shillings, and the boat ride from Stone Town to Prison Island was 70,000 Tanzanian shillings. And the boat actually gets to wait for you until you're done, and it takes you back, and it just doesn't like take you and then like leave you there and then go back. No, it just like waits for you until you're done and then you leave. So in total, it was 150,000 Tanzania shillings. I feel like I also have to say this. These prices were not so expensive because honestly, first thing is that the tour guide was a friend of a friend, and the tour guide also knew like what happened to us. So he knew like we lost a lot of money, and since he was a friend of a friend, so he was a little bit like easy on us on the prices, and he did not charge us a lot of money. Let's just say he gave us like the family and friends discount. Our accommodation covered only breakfast, and for Saturday he even like gave us like free lunch, so that was very, very nice of him. In Prison Island, there were interest fees to be paid. For Tanzanians, it was 3,000 per person. So since there were three of us, it was we paid 9,000 Tanzanian shillings. And I checked for foreigners. For foreigners, it was $15 per each foreigner. Next expense here is Forodhani, because we went to Forodhani also. We had some shawarma, and one shawarma was 2,500 Tanzania shillings. And actually, we did not pay for these shawarmas because like we bought 4 shawarmas, and our tour guide is the one who like he bought us the shawarmas, so like he paid for the shawarmas. So I'm not going to count that as an expense because he did pay that for us, but I just wanted to mention like the prices for shawarma in Zanzibar. And the next thing that we bought is we bought some baby shark. They were like sharks, they are baby sharks, so we wanted to try, so we just bought one, and one was 12,000 Tanzanian shillings. Expensive, right? The next food that we tried at Forodhani was the Zanzibar pizza. The Zanzibar pizza was only 5,000 Tanzanian shillings. And the next thing that we bought was fruits. We bought like a lot of fruits, and the fruits were actually not expensive. They were actually only 5,000 for all the fruits that we ate there. And the last food that we purchased at Forodhani was the octopus. Initially, the octopus was 20,000 Tanzania shillings, but we got it for only 15,000 Tanzania shillings, you know. So the total amount of money that we spent at Forodhani was 44,500 Tanzanian shillings, not counting the shawarma, because like we did not pay for the shawarma. And the next expense was for the next day, which was Sunday, where we like went to Nungwi to see the turtles. And the expense and the transport fee that we paid to Nungwi was 70,000 Tanzanian shillings. Like I said, I feel like this price was also like a little bit more fair to us. When we went to like see the turtles, we had to pay an interest fee, and here like the interest fee was 25,000 Tanzania shillings. This was for both residents and like non-residents. They did not care if you're a Tanzanian or not a Tanzanian. The interest fee was 25,000 Tanzania shillings for each. After there, we went to like Stone Town, and we went to lunch at Kwalukman. And at Kwalukman, we had like the Ajuma had the biryani, I had the pilau. Our tour guide Haji, we went with for the day, also had some pilau. Michi had like some seto and like a kingfish. So they all had juice except me, we had a Coca-Cola. In total, like the food and the drinks at Kwalukman was 69,000 Tanzanian shillings. And after that, our next expense was like the boat ride from like Zanzibar to Dar es Salaam. So here it was 35,000 Tanzanian shillings each, because we went with like economy, and for 3 people it was 105,000 Tanzanian shillings. So those are all our expenses for our weekend getaway to Zanzibar, and in total we spent 1,291,000 Tanzanian shillings. So since we went 3 of us, I've divided this amount into 3, and like we each spent like 433,700 Tanzanian shillings. So not so bad. So that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching till the end. I hope this video was a little bit informative, and you gained like knowledge from this video, and maybe gave you like a few insights on what you need for your next Zanzibar trip, on like the expenses for your next Zanzibar trip. I would like to thank you again for watching till the end. I hope you have a nice day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.
If you find the one, you should never give her up. I think it's the way life changes when in love, yeah. I surround my soul with the positivity. That's why I don't worry about the things that I don't see, yeah. These days I don't worry about much. I think we should have some more fun. I still dream about the days when we were young. I'll take a hit and still finish in one, yeah, yeah.